Feeling overwhelmed? Searching for someone who truly gets it? At J. Branch and Associates, we provide mental health support for BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and others facing unique challenges. We understand the weight of generational trauma, the struggles of identity, and the pressures of being a part of an underestimated and overlooked group. At J. Branch and Associates, therapy isn't a one-size-fits-all. We create a safe, culturally aware space where you can feel seen, heard, and understood. Finding a therapist who truly fits you matters, and that's exactly what we're here for. Our team of highly trained licensed therapists bring compassion, empathy, and real-world experience to help you on your journey to healing and growth. We're committed to helping you become the best version of yourself. Ready to take the next step? Visit us at www.drjbranch.com for more information, or call or text 404-436-2540 to schedule your free 15-minute consultation. You can also book your first session today. Thank you for choosing J. Branch and Associates, therapists of color providing exceptional care to BIPOC communities, quality service, exceptional care from authentic professionals.
Three parallels. Yeah. Three parallels. Yeah. Three parallels.
Three Parallel Podcast. Come take this walk with me.
Welcome back to the Three Parallels Podcast with your host, the Dr. Jason Branch, where we discover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we're trying to become. On today's episode, it may be controversial. It just depends on who you talk to. But listen, I got things to say, and I'm going to say it. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. So excuse the Kermit the Frog voice, but we're going to get through this thing because I got some things to share with you. And I got things to share with you because that's what this podcast is about. It's about sharing my lived experiences, what I know, what I've experienced, what I've seen, what I've studied, what I've researched. And I'm giving it to you, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. Because what I learned is this this platform gives me privilege. And with privilege, there is a great responsibility. And what I learned about privilege is it gives you perspective. And I want to share with you a perspective that can be controversial. It depends on who you ask. All right. So, my disclaimer, as always, this show is not a substitute for therapy. Okay. If you don't have a therapist, get you one. If you have one, you've been working with them for years, but you ain't doing nothing, you're paying for a friend. If it's not uncomfortable, you're not working hard enough. Get you a therapist. And if you don't have one, guess what? I'm accepting new clients. If you're located in the state of Georgia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, I'm available. Also, soon to be California. So if you're in any of those states looking for a new therapist, I am here. I'm accepting new clients. Feel free, reach out. You can get in touch with me anytime, any way. I'm also Googleable, so you can Google me too. But reach out if I can help, if I can assist. Let me know if you or someone you know is in need. Let's dive in. Get your journal, get your notebook, get you something to write with, because I'm going to talk about something that is going to be tough to hear for some, but inspirational for others or for all. Just depends on who you ask. So buckle up, Buttercup. We about to dive in. And today, we're talking about audacity, and I ain't talking about the audacity of hope. Y'all know the book from Barack Obama. We ain't talking about that. I'm talking about a different kind of audacity. And then I go on to share the backstory of this audacity because I learned this from a really good friend of mine who was on the show, Dr. Justin Dotson. And Dr. Dotson is also a Black male therapist who has a therapist and who's doing the best he can with what he has. And we're unique, being Black male therapists and having a therapist and just being out in these streets, figuring out life to the best of our ability. We're like Black unicorns with the gold horn. And Dr. Dotson and I was having a conversation, and we were just talking about authenticity and integrity and just diehard mentality, like to just go after what we want and to go get it and stop apologizing for being who we are, just being authentically us, authentically Black, and allowing ourselves to just be that. And we're going to be us, and people, they just get to adjust. And he gave me something that I've been using ever since, and it's quotable. I'm quoting him now. That he mentioned that I am now moving with the audacity of white folks. Yes, indeed. So for anybody Black, this season for March, I want you to move with the audacity of white folks. And what I mean by that, now, I'm not talking about all white folks, but there are some white folks who have the audacity where they don't care about what you think, what you feel, what you say, what you do, where you are. They will come to your home. They will come to wherever you are and let you know you don't belong. Audacity to let you know that you are not supposed to be here just because you look a certain way, especially if you're black. Audacity to come to your barbecue and tell you you cooking the wrong thing, to come to your house and tell you you cannot live here. There is no way. Audacity, the audacity to tell you that you can't work wherever you're working, the audacity to say you don't belong here, the audacity to say go back to where you came from. Not all, but some. That's what I'm talking about today. So now that you know, you get to decide, do I want to finish this episode or get off of here? Because this is too much for me. And if it is, that's okay. If it ain't, plug in, turn up. Because that's what we about to do. So I, Dr. Jason Branch, because of Dr. Dawson, is now moving with the audacity of white people. Some white people, not all. And I want to share a story related to this audacity of some white people. 4 white people to be exact. And I'm going to use different names for the sake of confidentiality, for the sake of my livelihood, because, white people be white people, and I don't need that right now. I got a good show going, got a good thing going. I don't want to mess that up. So I'll talk about a few white people by the name of Brad, Charles, Tracy, and Travis. These 4 individuals, privileged, had money, decided that they wanted to start a restaurant. Now, I got to give you the backstory to the front story. And this restaurant that they created is a restaurant that we all know and love. But I got to give you a story. So back in 1986, there was a movie that came out called Crocodile Dundee. For those who remember, I think it was Paul Hogan played Crocodile Dundee. It was a phenomenon. It was one of the greatest movies of our time in the US because it exposed us to life in Australia. It exposed us to an idea of life in Australia. It exposed us to all the stereotypes and generalizations and beliefs about Australia that was placed in a movie that we saw and loved and enjoyed. These 4 individuals saw that movie and they were inspired as well. Oh my God, this is great. I didn't know that's what goes on over there in Australia. And they decided, they put their money together, put their heads together. We're going to create a restaurant that's themed with this Australian background because the movie was so big, they felt as though the restaurant could be just as big. And they were right. Restaurant still exists to this day. You know what that restaurant is? Outback Steakhouse. Yes, indeed. Let's talk about it. So Outback Steakhouse was created in 1988, 2 years after Crocodile Dundee, by these 4 individuals that got together because they had the bread and decided to invest in this restaurant. And the audacity is what we're talking about. They decided to do research. They did market research at all the restaurants that's going on right now. So there was a difference between, the chains like McDonald's and Wendy's, and then there was Applebee's and Chili's. So they were looking at how can we find our place in this space related to these restaurants and what's the most popular food item. So they did market research, find out what's the popular food item. What they discovered, it was steak. So that's why they made sure it was a steakhouse. And even though they could have gone to Australia to get information about the culture, about the background, the community, they decided not to because it would water down the American experience. The audacity. So even though they could have, they had the means to go to Australia to figure out what goes on over there to create this Australian themed restaurant, they chose not to at all. And they created this restaurant based off of the stereotypes and beliefs that they had related to this movie and made millions and still making millions to this day. That is what I call audacity. I don't know if you know this or not. There are 1,000 locations in 23 countries right now. Their slogan is no rules, just right. The audacity. I just got to give it to you. I need you to know this, right? And the themes that they used was stereotypical themes about about Australia, such as boomerangs, kangaroos, wildlife, right? dark colors, uh, uh grass and tree. I'm laughing. It's sad. Don't get me wrong. It's sad. I'm laughing, but people don't know this, and this may be your favorite restaurant. Don't take my word for it. Go look it up for yourself. And it blew my mind when I discovered this, because it blew my mind because I cannot imagine people doing that, but people do it all the time. They take what they like and they make it their own. Audacity. Or the things they don't like, and they try to stop it. Audacity. It has more to do with them than it has to do with anybody else. So there's nobody on their board. There was nobody on their founding team. Nothing around this restaurant, this business, this empire that had anything to do with the country of Australia at all. They didn't even get a consultant. They didn't even get Dundee himself. They didn't get nobody to represent this place that they decided to use. And they maintain, koalas and kangaroos. They maintain all these stereotypical things about this country for years, and they didn't change their logo until 2006. And it wasn't because it was cultural appropriation. It was because we need to find a new image so we can keep making money. Let's go a little bit deeper. You know the blooming onion, right? Now, I don't know how true this is, but the blooming onion was developed by one of the founders, either Brad, Charles, Tracy, or Travis. This person was working at a barbecue joint where he thought of the idea of this blooming onion. Now, it's kind of weird that you created this blooming onion recipe while you were working at this restaurant that was serving barbecue. And my belief is that recipe possibly was stolen from that barbecue joint and used in Outback, and it get a lot more notoriety there than it did at the barbecue joint. That's just my belief. I don't know. I'm a conspiracy therapist. Quote me. I'm a conspiracy therapist. That's my job. That's my role. I'm here to dig up some stuff. All right. And a lot of it is true. And they also made money off the backs of Black players, or I'm sorry, student athletes, because they developed the Outback Bowl in 1996. And the Outback Bowl went from 1996 to 2022. And guess what they served all the athletes? Outback. Here's a steak for you. Here's a steak for you. So they made all this money, did all these things, and nobody knew it off the backs of the people, the culture, the community connection of Australia without ever having any connection to this place. Even after they made money, even after they blew up, they still didn't get any insight. That is what I call audacity. And before this episode, you probably never knew that story. Now that you know, what do you think? I'll tell you what I think is there are no rules besides the ones we create. And we have created a lot of rules that no longer serves the current version of us. And these rules that we created keeps us stuck in who we used to be. It makes it hard for us to move beyond where we were to where we're trying to go, because we believe there is a right and wrong way to everything. And that's very black and white. That doesn't work. It keeps us stuck. And last time I checked, black and white thinking gives you only two options. Either, and for many of us, the option is either I'm good or I'm great. Either I'm right or I'm wrong, or if I'm this or I'm that. And there's so much in between that black and white thinking that we don't consider, which is the gray. Now, I got to give props. Brad, Charles, Tracy, and Travis, brilliant. Brilliant. Because they decided this is what we're going to do, and they did it at a very high level, and they're very successful because of it. Hats off to them. Cultural appropriation, hats off to them. They did it. They got away with it. No one cares. You know why? Because nobody cares. Nobody cares. As long as it don't impact me, as long as it don't hurt me, as long as I don't know, I don't care. That's us, meaning human beings doing human things. We don't care unless we care. And a lot of times we are, there's an uproar. We care about certain things because of our beliefs, our ideas, our identity, and it keeps us stuck more often than not. In this episode, I'm hoping that this idea of moving with the audacity of different types of people, or the audacity of being your authentic self, will give you insight and inspiration to stop living by rules and laws that don't serve you anymore. Let me give you an example. Many of us use the word should. Should is a dead end, period, point blank. Should is death. Should is the past. How many of us are shoulding on ourselves every day? Every day you walk around here smell like should. You smell like should. You smell like should. Did you should on yourself? Oh my goodness. Should it up, right? It's okay. Don't talk about it. I need to explain the rules, the laws around should. Should requires you to judge, shame, and guilt yourself based off of something that you cannot control or change, the past. Think about how often you say should. Think about the last time you say should. Think about what you said should about. I should have did this. I should have did that. I should have did this. I should have. I should have. No, no, you shouldn't, because should is a made up word, just like all the words are made up, that we use that hurts us internally. It kills us slowly. It's a slow internal death. Because anytime I use the word should, I beat myself up about something I didn't know. Because if I knew different, I would do different, but I didn't know. Now I'm beating myself up about something I had no idea about, and it just sits there. It's like shit on a stank. It's like shit on the street. It just sit there and stank. That's what shoulds do. So I challenge you to stop shitting on yourself. How? I got you. One way you can stop shitting on yourself is stop using the word altogether. Name one time the word should has helped you. Hasn't. Name one time the word should has encouraged, inspired, motivated you. Name one time the word should gave you the audacity to do anything. Doesn't, because it's a death sentence. So I challenge you to remove the word should from your vocabulary, because it serves no purpose anymore. And instead of using the word should, I'm not just saying getting rid of a word and that's it. No, replace it. So instead of the word should, let me replace the word should with the word could, because could gives me endless possibilities to do, say, and be anything I want. Here's an example. You know how you say, I should have followed my first mind? That's a death sentence. If I changed it and give it a life sentence, I could have followed my first mind. That changes everything. I could have. I didn't, but I could have. There's no judgment. There's no shame. There's no guilt. There are facts. The facts is I could have did things differently. Absolutely. And guess what? The next time I'll be prepared. The next time I'm going to follow my first mind. But if I'm shooting on myself, I only keep it negative. I only keep it behind me. I only judge, shame, and guilt. It brings no life. It only brings death. So give yourself permission to change your wordplay, which means you change your narrative. If you change your narrative, you change your life. Powerful stuff. Audacity. And if I change my narrative, I change my thoughts. If I change my thoughts, I change my feelings. I change my feelings, I change my behavior. I don't use the word should anymore. Only for this podcast, I'm going to give you that. I don't use it because it doesn't serve me. But the word could does serve me, and it serves me a lot. I could be a billionaire. I could be a millionaire. I could be a this. I could be the greatest. I could be. It gives you endless possibilities, because think about it. When you were a kid, when they asked you, what did you want to be when you grow up? You didn't say, I should have been. No, you say, I could be. I could be the president of the United States. These are facts. No shame, no disrespect. You can be the president. I don't care who you are right now. You can be the president. Why not? Why not you? Why not you? Real talk. You can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. It's based on you. So if you substitute the word should and put the word could, it gives you endless possibilities to do things you've never done before. That's future based. That's present based. These are small steps to help you become the better version of you. Now, let's take it to another level when we talk about audacity, right? The audacity gives you the ability to move without regard of people, places, and things, but the being that you are. Who you are is valuable, it's important. And a lot of times we downplay ourselves because of who we are based off of who we think other people are or what they think about us. It's a flawed belief system that we all have and we all have adopted because somebody gave it to us. I call that legacy. So think about how often you accommodate the people, places, and things around you based off of who you are or who you think you should be. Think about how often you are apologizing for being exactly who you are. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm this. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm that. When you have the audacity, you're not apologizing. You're not even asking for permission. You're not even asking for forgiveness. You're just doing, period. That's audacity. So, how do I give myself permission to begin moving differently? I got you. The best way to do it is to figure out who you are now and who you're trying to become. If I figure out who I am and who I'm trying to become, that means the old version of me no longer has space to rule the world or to rule me. Audacity, I want to give you a definition, okay? It's a noun and it means boldness or daring, especially when it's done in a way that disregards safety, convention, or other restrictions. For example, you might describe someone's question as audacious if it shocks the person being questioned. How often were you shocked or somebody shocked you by the things they said about you, not knowing you? If you've been listening to the podcast, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've been living life and somebody's assumed that you were someone or something that you weren't, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if people have the audacity to tell you who you are, you have the audacity to tell them who you're not. You also have the audacity to let them know who you actually are and not who they think you are. But you have to believe that within yourself first before anybody else has a chance to do that. So when it comes to living this audacious life, this is living life with no regrets. This is living life with no rules, no laws that don't serve you. You can have rules and laws and the way you live, but does it serve you or does it hurt you? Because a lot of these rules and laws that we live by, they hurt us. Should. It hurts us. And the best way I can describe becoming the best version of you and living this audacious life is to imagine the person that you keep seeing, but you just cannot connect to. The person you imagine yourself being, but it's a struggle to become them because you live by the rules of your old self. And that old version of you is kicking your ass right now. I mean, boxing glove, duped up, like, let's go. Let me give you an example of what that looks like. Imagine you're in an arena, UFC, fight, title fight, thousands of seats in the arena, no boxing gloves, iron fist, ironclad. It's your current self and your old self in the octagon finna duke it out. And every seat in this arena is filled with people. And guess who these people are? All different versions of you from birth to where you are right now. Your future self is outside of the arena trying to discover, do I get a ticket to this shit show or do I take my ass home? And the current version of you has to make that decision because if not, the old version or the current, one of them is going to win. And it's usually the old version. The old version is the things that you continuously tell yourself that prevents you from making moves to become a better version of you. It's the reason that you're not audacious. It's the reason you're not bold. It's the reason you're not daring. It's the reason you're not courageous. Let me break down the why. And this is review for some. This is new for others. The why relates to the gator and the salamander mentality. Okay? Let's break that down. Gators are audacious. Gators move with the audacity of white people. Some, not all. And that that audacity is this ideal mindset that I'm supposed to be here. You're not. I belong here. You don't. But when you think about audacity, I want you to think about it a different way. This ain't about nobody else. It's about you. I belong here. I deserve a seat here. I'm the best at it. I'm that person. I'm him. I'm her. I'm them. That's audacity. Ain't got nothing to do with nobody else but you. We make it about other people. Let me break it down. Difference between the salamander and the gator. Salamanders, perfectionism. Everything sticks, right? They're vulnerable. They're like a turtle leaving the shell, out here naked and afraid. And I ain't talking about the TV show. Salamanders, there's 4 P's. Write this down. Told you. Number 1, perfectionism. They're trying to be perfect. How often? All day, every day. Perfection is this black and white thinking. Either I'm good or I'm horrible. Either I'm great or I'm shit. Last time I checked, there's at least 50 shades of gray in between that black and white. You seen the movie, you watched TV show, read the book. There's at least 50 shades. So therefore, I got at least 52 options. When I have black and white thinking, I only have 1 or 2 options. That's it. But the reality is you got at least 52. At least. That's perfectionism. That's the salamander. Soft, squishy, penetrable, everything sticks. Second P, and these aren't going in a particular order. Perception. Salamander's view or perception is limited based off of their lived experiences. Let me give you an example. We know a little bit about a lot, but there's a lot of things we don't know about. Hashtag Outback. Right in your face. You've been eating there for years, at least since 88. It's probably been around so long as you've been around. You didn't know anything about it because black and white thinking. I can't see in between. There's only one thing or the other. So that's perception based off my lived experience, where I am, where I'm going, where I'm growing. Third P, present. You're not. As a salamander, you are not present. You're so focused on the future or so focused on the past. You're not present. So I'm looking ahead or I'm looking behind. I'm not looking at where I am now. Last P, patience. You have none. Salamanders have no patience with nobody and nothing. Why am I not a millionaire yet? Why I don't have this business yet? Why am I not married yet? Why don't I have kids yet? Why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? Why don't I have this? It ain't happened yet. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You're still here. You're not dead yet. So why am I worried about what's not here now? Why don't I embrace what's happening now? You can't because you're a salamander, and that's not audacious. But if I'm moving like a gator, that's audacity at its finest. Let me give you some examples. A gator, they're protected, they're covered, they got scales. And those scales are protective coverings or layers. So every scale is a lived experience somebody had that protects them. Oh my goodness. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Salamanders, they ain't got no teeth, mouth wide open, eyes big as all get out, eyes wide open, mouth wide open. Talk the most shit, ain't got no teeth. Gators ain't got to say nothing. You see their teeth. They ain't even got to open their mouth. You see it. And gators, don't get me wrong, they vulnerable too. They have a vulnerable, penetrable side on the underbelly, but nobody have access to that unless they want you to see it. That's audacity. Vulnerability, everybody can see you out here naked and afraid. So gators, very different from a salamander. A gator, number 1, they're consistent. They just keep showing up. How you think Outback is still out here in 2025? They just kept showing up and nobody told them no. Even if they did, they only needed one yes. Brad, Charles, Tracy, Travis, those are gators. Uh-huh. Yes, indeed. Because they were consistent. They maintained the theme, even though they stole it. They maintained it. We're doing this Aussie thing. Good day, mate. It's so disrespectful. I saw Outback commercial the other day and I was just like, wow, the audacity. And nobody knows. Gators are consistent. You know what else gators are? They're courageous. It took Brad, Charles, Tracy, and Travis courage to step out here and create an entire brand on the backs of these damn kangaroos. Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm just honest. Okay? You ain't gotta like it. You ain't gotta like me. I'm just honest. You don't have to like it. But all these kangaroos out there being used for the benefit to sell steak. I don't get it. We ain't selling kangaroo meat. We selling cow meat. We'll be using a kangaroo to sell it. Anyway, I'm gonna get off of that one day, just not today. So courageous. Gators are courageous. Are you courageous? Are you taking risks? When was the last time you took a risk? I want you. I challenge you. This is your life work for this week. I challenge you to take more risk. Real talk. I'm dead serious. Be audacious. Be out here in these streets doing what you think is best for you first. Now, don't get me wrong. Be strategic in your risk taking. Be mindful of your risk taking. Don't be out here just wilding out and blaming me. Dr. Brand said I'm supposed to take a risk. Okay. End up unemployed out here on these streets. I ain't got room for you. I'm telling you now. It's a family of four over here. I don't have room. Better go to Outback. Okay. Okay. All right. I told you I'm an only child. I've been doing this my whole life. I don't need no help. Okay. But I hear you laughing too. Even though you listen to me, I hear you laughing. That's how I know it's good. Okay. Take some risks this week. Okay. I mean that. And I am not your therapist unless I am. What up, clients? Love you. Yeah, I said it. For those who are not, oh well. Um, for this week and this week only, blame me. Okay. I'm not, I am a therapist, but I am a therapist. I'm not your therapist unless I am. Blame me. Dr. Brand said I couldn't do this. Who's Dr. Brand? So that's my therapist for the week. Blame me. He said I can do this. I can do that. I'll be audacious. If you don't blame me, blame Brad, Charles, Tracy, and Travis. Blame them. Founders of Outback. Blame them. Don't blame me. Blame them. Okay. Take risks. Third C. They're consistent. We're talking about Gators. They're consistent. They're courageous. They're curious. Gators are curious. As a salamander, I have a perspective, and that perspective is whatever I think is reality. A gator is whatever I think I can question by being curious. Curious, I want to know more. Teach me more. Let me know more. I'm not taking what you just say as the gospel. I want to hear more. Can you share more with me? Be curious. That's what gators do. That's why they get information. That's why they find information. Let me give you something about curiosity. Did you know that there were 12,000 species of sea moss? I had no idea either. I thought it was just one, first name sea, last name moss. There are 12,000 different species of sea moss, which means if I was going to learn about one species per day, it would take me 32.8 years to know all the species of sea moss. That's just talking about sea moss. So therefore, you got 12,052 different options to choose from when it comes to being a gator. That's just what we know. Imagine the things that we don't, such as Outback. Okay, let's keep the party going. Gators are curious, courageous, consistent, creative. For these founders to develop Outback, that takes creativity. Yeah, they took bits and pieces from a movie, but that's they created something from that. And all of them are doing very well, and their family is doing very well because of their creativity. Again, that's audacity. Imagine what you could create if you get out the way. God, dog. Imagine what you could create if you get out the way. That means the old version of you that's still taking up space. Get out the way. Creativity comes from authenticity. The more honest and authentic you are, the more creative you can be. Just my humble. Now, Gators are extra. They don't have four C's, they got five. Well, you know what the fifth one is? Celebrate. Gators celebrate. When was the last time you celebrated yourself? When was the last time you celebrate any of your accomplishments? Never. Graduation, wedding, funeral, whatever event you celebrated that. But imagine celebrating life every day because that's exactly what I do. You know why? Because I'm a Gator and I move with the audacity of white folks. I celebrate every day because I'm alive and I can't believe I am who I am, doing the things that I do, having the life that I have. I cannot believe I am here. So I celebrate every day because I thought for sure I wouldn't have lived beyond 21 based off my background, lived experience. So me still being here, alive and well, a black man in these United States, I'm still here. I celebrate every day. And the celebration is whatever you say it is and whatever you make it to be. You get to decide. I had a client a while back who believed celebration was a rooftop party, a rooftop party, in New York with, DJ Envy running the show and his VIP and popping bottles. Like that's what he thought a celebration was. That's why he never celebrated. He felt as though he couldn't afford it. And when we had some conversations, celebration, whatever you say it is, he discovered I enjoy celebrating by relaxing on my couch watching TV. That's a celebration. Watching what you want to watch instead of watching what everybody else want to watch. Celebration is you treating yourself to dinner or a movie. Celebration is I'm choosing not to do anything today. Celebration is I'm choosing to say no today. Celebration is let me put me first today. A celebration is whatever the hell you say it is. So find a way to celebrate you. When I think about a gator celebrating, I think about that little party hat with a big gator mouth with a kazoo. That's what gators do because they have the audacity to do just that. So I hope you understand the difference between a salamander and a gator, and I hope you choose to be a gator more often than not. But the reality is we become salamanders every time we do something new, different, and or uncomfortable, which is anything that you decide to do after you listen to this show. Whatever you choose to do after listening to this episode, you get to determine is this gators stuff or is this salamander stuff? And from today moving forward, I don't care who you are. You know white people, or you may be one. I want you to move with that audacity of white people. Some, but not all. This has been another episode of the Three Parallels Podcast with your host, the Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we're trying to become. Listen, if you out there, white folks being a white person and just be whitening it up, being disrespectful, Karens, listen, get yourself together, okay? It is not your world. It is not your house. It is not your space. It is not yours. I need you to move with different types of audacity because you got to look out for the other people. Other people is everybody but you. That's us. That's all of us. We are out here, okay? So if you are Karen, if you know a Karen, send them this episode. If your name is Karen, send them. Yeah, thank you. Send them this episode. I love you all. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me 100%. I'm just sharing my truth. I'm sharing my thoughts. I'm sharing my feelings with you. You can do whatever you choose to do with them. I hope this episode has been a blessing to you. Use the things that I share. Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. I will see you next week. Have a great day, great life. Goodbye.
Feeling overwhelmed? Searching for someone who truly gets it? At J. Branch & Associates, we provide mental health support for BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and others facing unique challenges. We understand the weight of generational trauma, the struggles of identity, and the pressures of being a part of an underestimated and overlooked group. At J. Branch & Associates, therapy isn't a one-size-fits-all. We create a safe, culturally aware space where you can feel seen, heard, and understood. Finding a therapist who truly fits you matters, and that's exactly what we're here for. Our team of highly trained licensed therapists bring compassion, empathy, and real-world experience to help you on your journey to healing and growth. We're committed to helping you become the best version of yourself. Ready to take the next step? Visit us at www.drjbranch.com for more information, or call or text 404-436-2540 to schedule your free 15-minute consultation. You can also book your first session today. Thank you for choosing J. Branch & Associates, therapists of color providing exceptional care to BIPOC communities, quality service, exceptional care from authentic professionals.